and welcome to LawSikho's thorough newspaper analysis for the 5th of July 2023. For today, we have one editorial article which has been taken from the Indian Express and it is titled Hurting the Federal Compact. Now, for the second and the third segment of the day, we will have the news update and the legal news. So, with regards to the article, Hurting the Federal Compact, now, we need to realize that as the days go by, the central government's ordinance, which strips the elected government of Delhi of its administrative control, becomes an ever bigger threat to the edicts of the Indian constitution. Now, we have discussed what this ordinance is, what the Supreme Court judgment was. In today's editorial article, we will be specifically focusing on the issues that come with the ordinance and what happens if the same is enforced. Now, in view of the ordinance's implicit intent to reinterpret the SC verdict, it can be faulted as an encroachment of the judicial sphere. Now, the ordinance is also an attack to the federal structure premised on the principle of dispersal of sovereign power between the union and its constituents. It is also a frontal assault to representative democracy and the parliamentary form of government. Now, this is because, as we see in the next point, the ordinance transfers the power to the lieutenant governor. Now, the lieutenant governor is not an elected individual, it is not an elected position either. However, the Delhi government, which should have the administrative powers in its hand, is an elected government. Hence, it is the face of the representative democracy and the parliamentary form of the government. And this continuous tussle between the central government and the Delhi government shows the entire edict of this system in a very poor light. Further, this will allow departmental secretaries to ignore the policies of the Council of Ministers. Now, why so? The departmental secretaries, them being IAS, if the control or if the control for the administrative system, administrative services and their postings were reposed in the hands of the state government, that is the Delhi government, this would allow the departmental secretaries to be constantly aware of the needs of the Council of Ministers and how they wanted to run the state. Instead, as soon as there's the central government who's processing this administrative service and their positions and the way they're transferred, the departmental secretaries become much more dependent on pleasing the central government rather than listening to the policies made by the Council of Ministers of the state government. Now, the need of the ordinance will also be questioned vehemently because the Supreme Court had come forward and they had stated that in absence of a law, it was the state government that had the power. It was the Delhi government in whom the power to deal with the administrative service would repose. In such a, like when such an order came, in light of the circumstances, was it at all necessary for the central government to come forward with an ordinance? Now, it is now to see whether the arguments of the union on taking administrative matters into their own hands with respect to Delhi being the capital, which is an argument that they have given before as well, will influence the court's decisions. The court should, at present, for at least until the matter is resolved, which will be a very long contention in the court, at present restore the democratic governance over the citizens of Delhi. Now, with this, we move on to the news updates for the day. Firstly, we have Vice-Admiral Atul Anand takes over as Additional Secretary, DMA. Vice-Admiral Atul Anand took over as Additional Secretary, Department of Military Affairs on the 3rd of July. The post was previously held by Lieutenant General Anil Puri, who superannuated on February 28th. The DMA, with the Chief of Defense Staff (CDS) as Secretary, was created to facilitate optimal utilization of resources and promote jointness among the three services. Vice Admiral Anand will work on the mandate, including the restructuring of military commands by bringing about jointness in operations through the proposed theater commands. Secondly, we have Tamil Nadu overtakes UP and Karnataka to emerge as India's top electronics exporter. Tamil Nadu's electronics exports nearly tripled in 1 year to $5.37 billion in financial year 23 from 1.86 billion in the previous year. From the fourth spot in FY 2022, Tamil Nadu moved to the top spot in FY 23. Companies like Tata Electronics and Pegatron started production, and this has helped Tamil Nadu overtake three states, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, and Maharashtra, to become India's top exporter of electronic goods for the FY23. Tamil Nadu retained the top spot in the first 2 months of the current fiscal year. Thirdly, we have scientists embark on expedition onboard India's research vessel Sagar Nidhi. In a landmark event concerning maritime collaboration under the framework of Colombo Security Enclave between the nations of Indian Ocean region, scientists from Bangladesh and Mauritius embarked on board India's research vessel Sagar Nidhi to participate in the joint ocean expedition spanning nearly 35 days. Now, for the international news segment of the day, we have Canada's first turbaned police officer, Baltej Singh Dhillon, appointed as chair of WorkSafeBC boards of directors. Baltej Singh Dhillon, a veteran Canadian Sikh police officer, was a part of the team that probed the 1985 Kanishka Air India attack, has become the first South Asian chair of an agency that promotes safe and healthy workplaces in British Columbia province. Dhillon, the country's first Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer to wear a turban as part of the uniform, was appointed to chair the WorkSafe BC's board of directors for a 3-year term, and this will be effective from the 30th of June. For the second update today, we have UK witnesses hottest June since record keeping began. The UK this month experienced its hottest June since records began in 1884, meteorologists are poised to announce. It has beaten the previous record set in 1940 as well as June 1976, which was the second warmest June on record. Previous records for June saw temperatures hit an average of 14.9 degrees centigrade, whereas this year the average temperature so far has been 16 degrees centigrade, with average highs of 21.4 degrees centigrade, according to the Met Office. Thirdly, we have Yuki Bhambri wins his maiden ATP Doubles Title. Yuki Bhambri created history by winning his maiden ATP title in Spain. The Indian player won the men's doubles title at ATP Mallorca Open. He partnered with Lloyd Harris of South Africa to lift the trophy. Bhambri also became the first Indian to win a title at the Mallorca Open. The final of the grass court tournament witnessed the Indo-South African pair defeat the Dutch-Austrian pair of Robin Haase and Philippe Oswald in straight sets. Also, Harris became the first South African to win a title on an ATP tour since Raven Klassen. Lastly, we have USA Independence Day. The United States of America celebrated the 247th anniversary of its independence on the 4th of July 2023. On the historic day, US President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris acknowledged the efforts of US soldiers and military in safeguarding the nation. The nation commemorated sacrifices of the revolutionaries who fought for their independence from the British in 1776. Now, for the legal update today, we have condition of right to repurchase and sale deed is not personal unless expressly stated, and the same can be assigned. Now, the Supreme Court in the case of Indira Devi and Veena Gupta observed that the condition of right to repurchase and sale deed will not be personal to the vendor unless the terms in the document specifically state so. Such a right can always be assigned, and the contract containing such condition shall be enforceable. The only exception being that such a right should not be personal in nature. The assignment of obligations in a document is not possible without the consent of the other party, and hence no implied prohibition of transfer or assignment can be inferred in a document. The benefit of contract is assignable in cases where it does not make any difference to the person on whom the obligations lies, to which of the two persons he is to discharge. So this was all for today. For free study materials and TNA PDF slides, please join our Telegram channel, the link of which you can find in the description given below, or you can always scan the barcode that is given on your screen. Don't forget to subscribe our channel on YouTube to stay up to date with the thorough newspaper analysis every day. Thank you.